The American bison, colloquially known as buffalo, fascinates me. I really don't know why, but maybe it goes back to my childhood on the family farm where we raised cattle and it was my job to take care of them, and they were my pets. And the buffalo or the bison is kind of a wild version of domestic cattle. At one time, there were an estimated 60 million buffalo in the central part of the United States, and they were hunted to near extinction by the 1870s, and there were only about 100 left. And now, thankfully, there are 400,000 or 500,000 left in domestic herds, private herds, as well as in some of the very most remote areas of Western North America, such as the Badlands of North and South Dakota and Yellowstone Park, as well as a few other areas, which we will now look at in this video for some up-close encounters with the American bison. But before we look at some of the amazing video that I've shot of buffalo or American bison up close, literally driving around them and a few feet from them in our vehicles, I want to show you some video of one of the areas where there are quite a few bison. This is the Theodore Roosevelt National Park, the Badlands of southwestern North Dakota, where they run free. So take a look at this really rugged, desolate area named after Theodore Roosevelt because he fell in love with this in the late 1800s, this area, and had a ranch in this area and was a cowboy, had a cattle ranch. And so thus the park is named after Theodore Roosevelt, the President of the United States in the very early part of the 20th century. So this is where the buffalo roam in this whole area, feeding on the grass. And as you drive through Theodore Roosevelt National Park, you see signs of buffalo all over the place. Now, I've been here before, and the first time I came, I didn't see any buffalo at all. But I sure saw a lot of buffalo chips or signs of buffalo, their dung, all over the place. But we never saw any. Well, then we came back the next year and we encountered buffalo all over the place. It was absolutely phenomenal. And this is what I want to share with you coming up. Recently, I've had the privilege of visiting several places where the buffalo are to be found in North and South Dakota, Wyoming, and Montana. And the calling cards of the buffalo, the first things you see when looking for buffalo are their cow pies. They're all over the place. You go down to Theodore Roosevelt National Park in southwestern North Dakota, or you drop down into Custer State Park in the Black Hills of South Dakota, or you go over to the north entrance to Yellowstone out of Gardner, there in Montana. And that's what you first see is all over the place are buffalo chips. After that, you may see some lone buffalo off in the distance, or maybe a flock way in the distance, barely visible to the eye, which you can spot with binoculars or a telephoto lens. And then eventually, if you're really blessed, you might see some herds grazing not too far off the highway. And if you're persistent, you'll actually have some amazing encounters right along the road from the safety of your car. Don't get out. These are wild and very powerful and potentially dangerous animals, so do not get out of your car. Respect them and go slowly and give them plenty of distance, and you will get some amazing photos, especially if you zoom in with your telephoto lens. This magnificent beast, the American bison, epitomizes the wild American West, and being a native Westerner myself, it resonates with something deep inside my spirit. The bison, for me, represents wildness, independence, freedom, strength, and a certain nobility. So on one of our recent trips to buffalo country, American bison country, we were privileged to visit the north entrance of Yellowstone out of Gardner, Montana, there at Mammoth Hot Springs in Yellowstone. And we were there in the middle of a snowstorm, and here are some pictures of the amazing world-class Mammoth Hot Springs while it is snowing. The Mammoth Hot Springs is really a sight that you have to see to believe. And we happened to be there when it was snowing, and the snow contrasting against the hot rocks of the hot springs was really phenomenal, absolutely stunningly beautiful. And so we visited this, enjoyed walking around, and then, lo and behold, buffalo. So from Mammoth Hot Springs, we then headed up the Lamar Valley Highway in search of more buffalo, as well as other wildlife that are typically found there. And we had a couple of buffalo encounters, as you can see here. But we learned that by that time in the winter, this was in January, the buffalo were heading to lower elevations in search of grass. As you can see, it's kind of difficult to dig grass, root grass out of the deep snow. There's a whole herd of buffalo here in the Yellowstone area, the town of Mammoth. Like there's one right there. He's incredible, isn't it? Yeah! We were in Lamar Valley yesterday. We didn't expect to see any down here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Here's some coming toward me. They're according to the fellow there, they're migrating down to Gardner to lower areas. He said this happens quite frequently, but it's always kind of unique. Mowing the grass in front of the dining room. This here is the Mammoth Springs Hotel. Dropping in for lunch. Here they come, moseying along. You'll notice that they are digging around in the snow looking for grass. Kind of a lot of work, moving their head back and forth like that. Dining room. All these buffalo are heading over to the Mammoth Springs dining hall. They're about 30 feet from our car. This is so crazy. And he's going over to join the other guy. He's in front of the dining hall. They're all mowing the grass through the snow. It is so cool. Right in front of the dining hall. Oh, this is too much. I guess the grass is greener on the other side of the road, so they're all heading over there. Guy's got snow all over his snout. chewing his cud. Of course, when searching for American buffalo or bison, bison are not the only animals that live in this Wild West country. You'll get to see a lot of other really cool animals if you keep your eyes open. Right from the road. Wildlife galore. Please enjoy. Mountain goats along the Gardner River as we're leaving Yellowstone. Gardner River Canyon, 3 of them. This is way cool. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to take get some snapshots here. How do we, on this camera, how do I get out of